Welcome to Bourbon and Badges, the podcast, live in Studio 77 from Gastonia, North Carolina, and Calabash, the voice of the uncommon people.
3, 2, 1.
You're on the podcast touchdown, dog. So, cool.
I'm waiting for the cue. I know the cue. When the drum guy starts hitting it. Welcome to Bourbon and Badges, the podcast. I should say the podcast after the podcast. After several pours.
All right, this is Open Mic, second podcast, the first podcast after the podcast pour.
He's so rude. He just interrupted the hell out of me.
Holy shit, I didn't understand a damn thing you said.
Folks, just to let you know, this is our second podcast after several sips and pours, and so we're a little bit loose, and we decided to roll with another one.
And
that's right. Tonight, the truth will be told.
We're going to let you know what we really think.
Full Monty, if you will.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, I tell you, one thing I liked off mic after the podcast we just did, talking about how this is therapeutic to all three of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
100%.
It is.
100%.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
went on
all three of us went 30 years in law enforcement and not being able to say what we truly felt.
Right.
And now.
Oh, I did once and got 15 days off for it.
I know you did.
I constantly said what I.
Katie, hold the bars because we tell it like it
Hey,
is
can you
now.
believe that? 90 years, almost 100 years of law enforcement on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty. You know, when you think back about it, it's something to be proud of. You know, you guys, you did your 30 years. 30 years. Enforcing the law. How many lives have Slow saved? How many lives have Hound Dog saved? How many people have I helped in the 90 years?
I killed a shit-eating dog one time.
Well, that's good.
Whose life which one of our lives did you change? Did you save there?
But my point, Hound Dog, was you saved and touched a lot of people's lives. I was on a roll there, and you just stopped me in my tracks with. I did. Never mind. Well, I was trying to be a little bit, sentimental there. But anyway,
Hound Dog changed hats.
He did.
What was it Calabash?
Calabash,
Okay.
North Carolina.
Okay.
My
you used to have Gastonia police on the side. Nice.
Yeah.
No, but no. So, no, seriously, guys. Over the course of our careers, think about it. Did a really good thing. I feel good about it. But I wasn't able. You always in that politics, especially when you get promoted a couple times. The politics comes in. I didn't realize it because the best position was patrol, and then the next best was sergeant. I should have stayed right there with Slow, because after that, it's meetings and bullshit. And now that, going back to what Slow was saying, the podcast just allows me to rant and say what the hell I want to say, and I don't have to be muzzled. And it's just so refreshing to be able to tell you folks the real deal and what really goes on and how officers really feel and what's really going on, because you guys get the media spin. You don't get the real thing. And we're not monsters. We're good guys, man. We want to help. We don't wake up wanting to do bad things. We want to go home with the same uniform, no blood, no guts on it. We don't want to have court dates. We don't want to be sued. We don't want to be fired. We just want to go home to our families. That's all we want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. I promise you that. If there's any way I can let you go home without taking you to jail, I'm going to let you go home. Trust me on that. If there's any way I don't have to write you a ticket, I'm not writing you a ticket. I'll write you a warning so I don't got to go to court. That's the truth. Am I right, Sergeant there, Slow?
No, you're exactly right. And I tell you, a good friend
Jesus.
of the podcast, he's starting his own podcast. As a matter of fact, I need to reach out and talk to him about it. His name's Chris, retired SBI agent. So he said, they have to go see a shrink as they're retiring, making that transition from cop to non-sworn officer. Yeah, we're still police officers. We're not civilians. We're protected by statute. We're unsworn police officers. But he was told by his psychological evaluator that if you move outside your jurisdiction, you add 5 years to your life.
Yeah.
So you need to expedite getting out of Gastonia there, Rod Nader, and getting down there in Florida where you want to be.
Actually, I was Charlotte, bro. I'm already out.
Yeah, he's
that's
already
true.
out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So we're good for at least
still
5 more
Gastonia.
years.
Now, Gastonia keeps me on my toes, boy. It keeps me fresh. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Not like you up there dodging spiders and Bigfoot.
Oh
and
man,
shit.
up here on Shootout Mountain, and actually, yeah, we're coming from
Hound
Shootout
Dog, nice.
Mountain,
I got
North
some light on your
Carolina.
face now.
Yeah,
Got some
I
light on
forgot
your
to turn my light
Hound
back
Dog.
on.
Good
Yeah, I
lighting, bro.
forgot.
Good lighting.
Gastonia, North Carolina, and Calabash, North Carolina.
Yep.
Absolutely. See right here.
So what we got?
Calabash.
Shoot, Calabash.
So what's
is
this?
here, man.
What's this? Basketball. What's this football stuff you guys talking about before we started getting back on this podcast?
But Hound Dog was saying how he is a Jets fan, and I was very
Man.
intrigued because being a New York guy, I also like to see the Jets do well. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers, who just got traded. He was a Green Bay guy for years, MVP twice in the league. He was the Jets' hope of taking him to the promised land.
Right.
Third play in, Hound Dog.
Yeah, third play in.
Third, fourth play in, 4 minutes into the game. The first game goes
Yeah.
down with a torn ACL.
He's out
For the
season.
year.
Yep.
So then the Wilson guys coming in who played last year. My opinion was he was dog shit last year. I think he's going to be dog shit this year. And
I don't
done.
think he's going to be dog shit, man. I think he's going to.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
It's
It's got
going
my feeling.
to embrace Aaron's tutelage.
Is he going to step up?
I
gonna
think
step
he'll
up?
step up. Yeah. I think
Okay.
he will.
And they got to go along with what you're saying, they do have a lot more weapons. They built a pretty good team, so maybe they will do better. But my confidence is low. A few games in, let's see what happens.
Yeah,
I'll leave it open.
We got 17 more games to go.
Absolutely,
more
and
games
they're
to go.
1-1. They're 1-1. So okay.
But you know what? It's funny because I was born and raised in the South. From the 1970s on, I have been a New York Yankees fan. I love the Yankees. I love the Jets because.
Rod Nader's representing.
Yep, there you go. Thanks, Rod.
You're welcome,
That's
sir.
my boys.
We didn't plan that either. All right.
No, we didn't. And I love the Jets because one, Joe Namath. He was one of the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great, and in his era, he was the best quarterback of that era.
Mm-hmm.
He won Super Bowl number 3, was it?
Yeah, one of the early ones.
Yeah, I think it was Super Bowl
Early
number
ones.
3.
He did a bunch of commercials too. One of the first guys to kind of start doing the commercials and so forth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you
was a
guys
stud,
really
dude.
be into this football stuff. I'm not a big football fan. How many innings do they play?
Drink
4
another
innings.
drink. Jesus.
They
Pour
play-
yourself another
They
drink.
play. They play. 4
Shoot out,
innings.
Mountain Boy.
Well,
Get you another
he
drink.
pulled his ACL.
Jesus
A good
Christ.
buddy of mine, Adrian,
Pulled his
Crow.
ACL, tore the ACL.
Tore.
You don't pull
Yeah.
an ACL.
Toward. Yeah.
Oh,
You
my
tear
bad
it.
there, medical doctor. My bad.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Adrian Crow, he's the captain with the prison up here. His daughter done the same thing, playing warming up for her.
Playing football.
No, she's volleyball. She's warming up for a volleyball game, yeah, and tore hers.
Yeah.
So Crow,
That's a-
speedy recovery to your daughter's torn
Terrible injury.
Absolutely.
ACL.
Yep.
Terrible injury. There's 2 ways to fix that too. You get surgery, or if you didn't know this, it will heal on its own. Now, I don't understand
Takes a
the
lot of time to
process of
heal
that.
on them.
Yeah, but actually it kind of fuses back together on its own.
Yeah.
But if you get it fixed, it's twice as strong. If you don't, it just goes back to being regular. So I don't know the premise why you would get surgery if it's going to heal on its own, except that it's stronger. But
I'm assuming it depends on the tear, right? For how bad of a tear it is.
I just either one. A guy across the street had his done. Had an Achilles tear. He decided to stay in the boot and not get surgery, and now he's walking around fine. So I don't know. Maybe if you're an athlete, you should get it fixed. Maybe if you're not, you can let it heal on its own. I don't know.
Yeah. Makes
But
sense.
just a little tidbit.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so I got a question for you guys.
Fire away.
What you drinking tonight?
Ooh.
Oh, you remember Hound Dog? We used to call this after hours, and that really didn't go over well when we was doing just the audio side of it. So we're calling it night open mic. I went back to the Knob Creek Smoked Maple.
The toothache in a bottle.
Cavity. in a
Allow me
bottle.
to turn around and see what I'm going to drink tonight.
90 proof. Good bourbon up front. You get the Knob Creek right up front, the oak, the leather, but on the back end, yeah, it is strong maple.
Rod.
The Rodnator, if you will, is going to go with the Evan Williams
Peach.
Peach.
Okay.
What'd you
And
say?
the great big bottle of
What'd you? Wait a minute.
50
What'd you just say?
I'm drinking.
What-
I'm drinking infused.
What did he just
whiskey
say?
as well.
Did you see my finger?
I
What did he
said-
just say?
I
Did you
said
just-
the
You're
great
still a
big-
guest
the
on you, right?
great- The
Yeah.
great big bottle of 50 milliliters.
I think he just insulted the LGBTQ crowd.
Who cares?
know.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
the KBG, MBG, whatever they are. I'm sure they don't listen to us.
No.
Maybe
no,
for 5 minutes.
No. And in order to
Piss
cancel
them
us, they
off.
cancel our 5 customers, right?
So Rodney, what proof is that? Probably about 60 or 70 proof. What proof is that?
Stand by a second. I got to put
I
my
tell you, the
glasses
better
on.
the infusion, the higher the proof. Knob Creek kept theirs at 90 proof. Look how intelligent he looks now, Hound Dog. Look at him.
Oh, man, he looks
Oh, you look
smart.
studious.
Check me out.
Is your wife not missing her glasses?
You son of a bitch.
Oh, shit.
You son of a bitch.
Up here, it's some bitch.
I know. I ain't up there. That's why it's son of a bitch. 65 proof. Looks like it's pretty weak.
Okay.
65. So that means 32.5 alcohol by volume. I can barely read that shit. It's really small.
Yeah.
But let me give you a little. Hang on a second. Let's do this. Ready?
All right, go ahead.
Oh, it's like Superman. Do you see that? Take him off. You took him off like
whoa.
Superman.
Anyway,
What's it smell like?
it doesn't smell harsh at all. Like, you know how the other ones had the bite and the alcohol smell or the
Yeah.
pepper?
Yeah.
No, this smells pleasant. I don't know how. I'm so bad at describing how it smells, but it
Yeah, there's no wrong answers.
smells some kind of fruit.
Peach.
Well, it's peach, right?
Maybe. You speak to detectives.
Matter of fact.
Yeah,
I believe
Rod.
that's
Rod
what it
we were
is.
detectives. We picked her up on that.
Yeah, we did. We were. Yes,
You
absolutely
bastards.
we were.
Yeah, peach. Legs, no legs. Like literally none. I don't think. Nope. Taste.
Well, Hound Dog, what?
Oh shit, that's good. Then again,
Is
it's
it good?
peach, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You like
Yeah.
it?
Peachy?
Oh, fantastic. I could drink the whole. Yeah. This is
Oh, I
really
tell you,
good.
if you like that, Hound Dog and I have a mutual friend. I think
Wow.
you probably met that can get some peach moonshine that's
Oh,
clear as a
yeah.
bell. And man, it is.
Man, it is.
You can smell the
delicious.
fuzz on it.
So let me ask you this. You guys are more experts at this than me. So this is peach flavored Evan Williams. Are all the flavored bourbons taste this good? Is that how it is? I usually get straight bourbons, Bullet,
Well,
whatever,
yeah. I think, and again, I'm drinking
This is good.
flavored as well. Whiskey, but I think most of those whiskeys are made for mixers. I think.
I think you're right, Slow.
Holy
'Cause
shit, it's good. So anyway, long story short, let me just wrap this up. The price point on it, I think, is about $25. It tastes fantastic. It's a daily drinker. I'd give it at least a 7.5. The reason I'm not giving it like a 10 because it doesn't taste real strong, and it's a 65 proof.
Now,
Like
I'm not being a smart ass. I'm really not. Now, would you drink that?
No,
Like,
stop it. You are.
Yeah, you are.
Stop.
would you drink that at
Stop.
the house like you're
You are.
watching TV? Now, but if we're piled up around the campfire, we got a couple of good sticks in our hand, cigars, and would you be okay pulling that out and drinking that with the guys?
Okay, number one, I'm not going to pile up with you guys around a campfire under any
Oh,
circumstances.
you're a pile
Number
up is what
one.
you are.
Oh,
Number
you're
two,
piling up.
when
You're
you say
piling up.
pulling something out, I don't even want to talk about that.
All
So
right,
we're not
Rodney.
even going to
Hey,
talk
Rodney,
about pulling shit
Rodney,
out.
have
That's
another
number
drink.
two.
Have
So
another drink, big boy.
let's properly say this. If we're sitting around a campfire, properly spaced, not piled up on each other, would I be comfortable taking this out of a cooler and saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to drink some peach"? Yeah, I would, because I'm who I am.
Would you hold your
Don't give
pinky
a
out?
shit like this. How about that, motherfucker?
Hound Dog, don't think it's safe.
Boom! Don't encourage him, hound dog.
Well, hey, I'm drinking
Oh,
flavored
shit.
infused
Hey,
whiskey
so
as well.
bottom line, everyday drinker, hell yeah, Evan Williams peach. It's good. I mean, for
Hound
the
Dog.
ladies too.
Hound Dog,
Ladies
what
will
you
like it.
drinking?
I am drinking a cocktail. And it's a Kentucky Mule with Rebel 100 bourbon,
Means it's 100 proof, right?
100 proof, yeah, and some ginger beer with
Tell me you got the good cherries.
the good cherries.
Now, do you just drop the cherries in there, or do you pull a little bit of juice in there as well?
No,
Drop the cherries.
I dropped the cherries and the juices on the cherries. Man, it is phenomenal.
And at the restaurants, at the cigar bar, they'll put a fucking, a little steak through them, and they'll put them on top of the glass. So the cherries sitting on top of the glass.
You put them in
That's
the
what
glass.
That's what. Well, they're there so you can grab them out easy. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, these Sharon cherries are the dark ones.
Maraschino. Yep.
That's what I said.
Yeah, of course you did.
I tell you, and the neighboring.
You said Marcia cherries, but I said maraschino, but it's the same thing. They're Marcia cherries.
They are.
I'm in Mitchell County. Yancey County is opening up a bourbon cigar bar. I was in there probably about almost a month ago now. They're just now getting where they sell. They have a few bourbons. They have a few pickup sandwiches, and they have the humidor that you walk into, but it's not stocked yet. I cannot wait till that thing comes alive. Have a place to go.
Ours in here in Gastonia. It was called Whiskars, right there at the corner. So you guys know, you police this place, right at Main Street. You know the main intersection
there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was a member.
South and Main.
So now it's called Vintage because Whiskars went out and they sold it. I think they were too high priced. Like some of their memberships for the Whiskars was like $1,500 for a year for the VIP. Like that's a little high price point for me in Gastonia, I think. So now I just paid $75 for a year, which means if I visited once every month, it's $10 each visit, right? So I'm going to go more than 8 times a year. So you know what I'm saying? It's more
reasonable
feasible
price.
for absolutely.
Yeah, you don't start out
so-
a $1,500 membership. You may end up there, but you don't start out there.
Well, in their defense, they didn't start out with that. That's the VIP one with a locker included and stuff. So the other ones but they were still $400 or $500. You know what I mean? So I think that's why they priced themselves. Just an opinion. They priced themselves out of the market here. But anyway, so now Vintage is up there and they're going great. And the other thing they're doing is Whiskars, when it was Whiskars first, only the back section of the bar, the back closed off section was where you could have cigars. The front section, where the front of the building was with the window facing the street, was no smoking, which was strange to me because if you're going to a cigar bar with or without your girl, you're going to a cigar bar where there's going to be people smoking
Like-minded
cigars.
people.
Wait for it. They're going to be smoking cigars. So why would you have some of the place not? Because then the guys end up going to the back. The women end up sitting in the front. Like it didn't jive with me. So now Vintage is going to open up the whole place to cigar smoking, which I think is going to be phenomenal because then you go to that bar to smoke cigars and drink bourbon, right? And watch the live music, or you don't. If your girl doesn't want to smell like cigar smoke, then you don't go there. You go somewhere else.
Yeah. You
don't try to cater to 2 different clientele because you're alienating 2 different clientele at the same time, right? Because if your girl wants to go and you don't, or vice versa, then you don't end up going anyway. So I think Vintage is going to be successful because of 2 reasons. 1, they're changing that, and 2, their price point. So Gastonia, downtown, Main Street, Vintage Cigar Bar. If you're around, it's a good place. Smoking Barrel's another option in Mount Holly, but Vintage in Gastonia. Yeah, the one in Gastonia is 2 blocks from my house, so that's where I'm at. So if you want to meet this famous guy on the podcast, the Bourbon Batches,
the Rodinator,
I'll be there. The Rodinator's there.
All right. And if you go to the cigar bar in Gastonia and you see Rodinator, please take a picture with him and post it on our social media.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. That'd be great. Be great. I would love it. If somebody came up to me and said, seriously, because I'm a nobody, if somebody came up to me and said, hey, wait a minute, are you Rodinator? I'd be like freaking out.
Yeah, we talked about that before.
It can happen.
I used to work at Shooter Express out there at the gun range. Right. And I'm sitting there, and it's later, and her husband, they come up, and they're getting ready to shoot, and she says, your voice is so familiar. She goes, do you have a podcast? I said, well, yes, I do. She goes, are you Hound Dog? No, I'm Slow. She goes, Slow. Can we get pictures? So I ended up taking pictures of her and her husband and stuff. It was like my 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. I thought you might have heard it on a porn site or something.
Yeah.
And that's me as well, working at the
My name is
ABC
Slow.
store. I'll be working in there, and the customers come up and say, "Man, I think I know you. You sound familiar." I said, "Oh yeah, you're Hound Dog." I am. Holy shit, you're Hound Dog on
The
Bourbon and
Hound
Bashes.
Dog.
So and I've taken pictures with a lot of people, while I was working at the ABC store.
You know what's funny about that too? If that happened to me, I would think like they're looking at me, holy shit, you're the Rodnator. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm nobody. Like you're shocked and like amazed, like you're sitting here in front of my presence. And I'm like, nobody. Like I'm just a dude, who
You're
bought
"What
this
kind of life do
microphone
you
right
have,
here.
lady?"
Yeah.
I just got a microphone. I bought these headphones, very cheap too. And I plug it in my computer, and now I'm talking. But it's just it would be really, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for.
Surreal.
Surreal.
Yeah. It's surreal.
We are personalities now. To all three of our
I'm
listeners.
I'm a personality, all right. I've
Yeah.
heard that from my wife. Yeah.
I'll tell you, and we said before, we bring 90 years of law enforcement to this podcast. 90 years.
Mhm.
Wow.
Everybody's got to remember, if any questions about policing, you got a captain, you got a sergeant, you got an officer for 30 years. You got all sorts of experience from every level here.
All point of
And
views.
we have no allegiance to any fucking buddy.
Right.
We tell you like it is. If the police are wrong, we'll tell you like that. And if they're right, we're going to tell you like that. So if you have a question or something about something that's happened to you, something like that, post it, do something like that, and we'll answer you.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
We will. Yeah. Absolutely.
Give you a very
If you
fair
want.
opinion. And I'll tell you right now, no one hates a bad cop worse than a good cop.
You're right.
because you bring such a shadow on us, and we can't stand it. When I was policing, and it's slow, you could speak to this too as a sergeant. When a supervisor in any capacity, or even a veteran officer like Hound Dog, would find somebody doing something off the grid or something that's inappropriate, they're not condoning it. They're not laughing about it. They're correcting it because they know what's coming next. You're going to get caught. The person's going to get caught, and then it's going to be televised, or it's going to be amplified by the media, and then the whole department has a black eye. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We want quiet. We want to help people. We want to go back to our homes. We want to go to bed and wake up the next morning, wear the same damn uniform we wore the day before without having to get them dry cleaned. So we don't want to touch people. We don't want to mess with people. We just want to have good encounters. We want to help people when we have to. When we've got to put a foot in an ass, we'll do it. But it's always going to be justified.
I tell you,
if we, that's it.
I take Captain Rodnator as the three of us, Captain, Sergeant.
I like Captain Rodnator. That should have been on my name tag. Captain Rodnator. What's your name, Cap Rodnator with an R?
Between a captain, a sergeant, and an officer, I tell you, the one who had the most pull in rank and file is a senior officer. They see captain as a sergeant. I see captain's got a job to do. People see sergeants, they got a job to do. But when you have a senior officer come to you and chew your ass out for something stupid you did, that carries more weight than a captain or a sergeant doing it.
Let me ask you this:
tell you what, as being that senior officer, there's been several times in my career that a sergeant would call me and say, "Hey, will you go over here and talk to this person and straighten things out?" And I would, and I'd go over there and talk to them. I said, this is what it is. You may not like it, but that's just the way things are.
And there is a culture within our organization, within our
Hound Dog
profession.
Yeah.
Let me elaborate on that, because as a lieutenant or captain, whatever I was at the time, if there was something in particular I had to say, I would call a senior officer in, and I would ask them. I would say, "Are you aware of this? I need you to address this amongst you and your troops. I don't want to get involved. It's not my place to get involved yet, and I want to keep it that way. So I would ask you to do the thing, and I would count on people like you to go ahead and square this guy away. And then if you couldn't, then whatever, then we'd go to the next level."
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm talking to the lieutenant and the sergeant, but I would say you, a senior officer, because coming from a peer to another peer, a respected senior officer on shift, there's nothing more powerful. A
Right.
captain can get in your ass, and they go, "Oh, that's the captain. Yeah. Oh, well, he's a this, he's a that." Okay,
Oh, yeah, the
and I
captain's a
get all
bad
that
guy.
because yeah, he's 3 ranks away, and he's out of touch. He's political, whatever. He's nobody now. He doesn't have any credibility, right? But the
Mhm.
senior officer who's out there humping calls every night with the same junior officer who's having the issue, that's where it comes from. Not only that, but the pressure of the rest of the shift to square your shit away,
Right.
answer your calls in your area, stop whatever it is. The pressure of the shift and the other officers always would square away a person more than a sergeant, lieutenant, captain, or anybody else getting in his ass. In my opinion, am I right?
Oh, you
Yeah,
100%
you're
right.
absolutely right. 100% right.
Uh,
And I could tell you how many times that other officers would come to me as being a senior officer and ask questions. Should I take this up the chain? I would say, yeah, you need to take it up, or no, you handle it the best way you can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Hey, let me tell you how, dog, on case point, I had an officer, he come into my office one day and say, hey, I ain't gonna name the officers. You got 2 officers out back in the back parking lot, where it's a secured area. He said, man, they're about to come to blows out there, man. They're screaming at each other. They're about to come to blows. It's like, crap. So I gave him like
Right.
15 minutes. And I walked out there and said, hey, guys, did y'all get this situated? I said, yeah, man, we're cool. We got it figured out. Said, all right, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you got to let boys be boys and work it out.
Oh, let me tell you something funny. Used to, you alluded to Whiskars, and what is it called now? Up on Main Street, Main Avenue?
Vintage.
Vintage. Used to, right there, probably before I don't know when you moved to Gastonia, but it used to be Main Avenue was nothing but run down old buildings. It was lawyers, offices, bail bondsmen, things of that nature. There's nothing there after hours at night at all.
Right.
It was a ghost town downtown. That used to be my go-to, man. And I was in the Central District. I'd have guys that screw up. And I tell you, you know what? Park your car, go walk the beat downtown Main Avenue. Because that's what we used to do as rookies. Remember that, Hound Dog?
Yeah,
You used to have to walk the beat.
Yeah,
So we put them down there
absolutely.
walking the beat all night long in a ghost town.
Yep.
And then you had all these bars move in, all the restaurants move in, and had guys begging to go down and walk the beat. They took that punishment
really?
away from you. Yeah, it was like,
Yeah,
there's a
nice.
great tool, man. And all those bars and restaurants move in, then there wouldn't be a good correction thing.
That's
You're
funny.
right.
That's funny. Yeah, but I always tried to use the folks below me who were respected. The leaders. It
Right.
always came better because no matter what reputation I had going up the ranks, once you're at a rank, you're on the other team. And that's the one thing I regret most. If I could have stayed in patrol, I would have, but I probably would have been fired because I just do things right and I say it like it is and it's not politically correct. So thank God I was able to get promoted. And thank God I got out of the everyday hustle and bustle because if not, I probably would have been shit canned. But again, I could take the 15 years I did in patrol, took it up, and I was able to promote and speak for the smaller guy. I think that's why I stopped at captain and they stuck me in the ops command position for 10 years.
All right, explain
Who
what
stayed-
that ops command. Explain that to our
Well,
listeners.
the ops command is a fancy word for the watch commander, which is basically a third shift position where they put you out to pasture. And I was in investigations as a captain for a while, but then they put me out there when I had an incident where I spoke my mind in a pretty general meeting with a bunch of ranked people, 150 or so, at a retreat for the coming year where we promote what we're going to do, the goals, right?
Retreats.
And so I ran my mouth a little bit about why I said the goals are great, but nothing's going to work unless they trust us. It was in relation to an officer who got in some trouble, but anyway, it's all under the bridge. But so at that point, I was in ops command, which is duty captain office, which people probably know who are police, but it's just somebody after hours who acts as the chief
Right.
for the department when things happen. I talk to the media, I handle homicide, whatever it is, it comes down the pipe. They call me and I go out and I do it. The longest running ops commander before me was in that office for 6 years. I made it 10 and retired in it.
All right, good deal.
and listen,
You
not
set the
complaining.
standard.
Not complaining. Hey, I got a record now, right?
Hey,
That's
a lot,
that's
a
how I
lot
look
of
at it.
weight on your shoulders, man. Because
The
everything,
Rodnator went 10 years. Let's see what you got, motherfuckers.
because
Is anybody get
everything
11?
falls
Let's
on
hear
your
11.
shoulders, and you distribute all the resources, right?
Absolutely. All kidding aside, something happens. The calls that need to be made, I get them. The resources. If it's a homicide, it's homicide. If it's homicide, drug related, it's homicide vice, blase, blase, blase. So that was all cool. And I had a really great time up there because I got to plug into all the main and serious calls that happen around the city. I always had my finger on the pulse of what's going
I
on.
was going to say
So
everything.
it was great. That was a good thing. I said pulse on the city. That was classic, like good shit right
Should have
there.
went.
Yeah. A visual.
The
Anyway,
Queen.
so anyway,
City.
but a third of my career was there. But anyway, but my point is, running my mouth kept me there. So to you guys out there who have an opinion, a strong personality, if you want to voice it, you're going to pay the price.
Yeah, even if you're
If
right,
you keep it, if you
Right.
even if you're right.
Yep, doesn't matter. Whatever the political winds are blowing,
it's
if you
worse
don't
when you're right.
comply with the political winds and the way they're blowing, you will be punished. That's it.
That's about these retreats. I made a little note, talking about these retreats. We have a guest on you as well, and they'd all, bring everybody in to do that. And they say, okay, this is what we plan on doing. And they want you to say, oh, that's wonderful. That's great. If you go against that grain.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you,
during that retreat, the last thing I'll say, during that retreat, when I was actually speaking on a microphone just like this, 150 people, lieutenants and up. As I was speaking my mind, my phone was blowing up.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
They were saying, shut up. What the fuck's the matter with you?
Don't do
Like
it.
friends of mine are texting me, dude, be quiet. Are you insane? Because the morning before that, this is literally what I said to myself. I was in the bathroom and I was shaving, which I haven't done since I retired, by the way. I just kind of knock off the hair. And I said, you ain't got a hair. I'm talking to myself, which is me because I'm insane. I was talking to myself and I said, you ain't got a hair on your ass.
And when you say you shave, where are you shaving?
My face.
You got hair on your ass. What are you shaving, brother?
Well, I don't shave my ass hair. I like it long and braided. Anyway, so I said, you ain't got a hair on your ass if you don't say something today, because this was the third day to retreat. No one has mentioned this. Everybody's going around with hooray, hoorah.
Oh, yeah.
These are great goals. And I'm not saying the goals were great. Some of them sucked, but I don't care, right? I understand the politics. But if you don't mention that none of these goals will be followed unless the officers trust the command staff as a result of what happened to an officer who was being persecuted for something he didn't do. It was a big, do you remember the Carrick trial?
Yeah.
Where he shot a guy and killed him.
Yep.
And for 2 years, they vilified him like they shot him, unarmed black man, this whole nine bullshit. Right. And it ended up saying, well, it wasn't that. It ended up being this guy ran straight at Carrick, who was pointing a gun at him. He was a 6'3", 250-pound guy running at a 5'10", 150-pound, 160-pound officer with a gun pointed at him. Yeah. And it turns out later the tox report said he was on marijuana, was drinking. He just crashed a car. It was a priority one call. Everything was in place. And when he got charged with it, they withheld the video that showed exactly what happened. And the reason they withheld the video of exactly what happened was because if they showed the video, then the public and everybody else would see that the officer was justified in what happened. And what happened was the guy jumped on him, tackled him with his gun out. He hadn't shot yet. And as he's on the ground, if you can see me he was like this, and the guy's punching him in the face, and he's pulling the trigger. Justified.
Yeah,
period.
Justified.
And
100% justified.
But for 2 years, they vilified that man. They vilified him. And at the end of 2 years, when the trial was about to come up and the trial was about to happen, the chief resigned and went to Florida.
Oh, I remember that.
To skip the trial. and he was acquitted, but his life was already ruined. That's
His
some
family,
bullshit.
His family's life.
That's
I
some
agree.
bullshit.
I agree, Rod. That's
And
bullshit.
I'll never forget it. And this is the frustration I had with working for that department and keep my mouth shut. I will not do it. It'll never happen. Fuck you. I'm in your face now. Nobody can silence me now. That's what happened.
Absolutely.
Carrick was railroaded. God bless that man. Love him. I don't know what he's doing. I know he's successful because guess what? He's a good dude. He got
Like I
jumped
say,
on.
and it's not just
He
him,
got
it's-
jumped on by a guy my size. A guy my size attacked him with his gun out. Who does that? Somebody who wants to die. Somebody who wants suicide by cop.
absolutely. Yeah.
Period.
Like we say before,
Hell, he ran through a taser. Another officer tased him, and he ran right through it and got to Carrick. Carrick had a busted mouth up in here. The only reason he hit him 10 times with a gun is because it was like this, and the guy was on top of him. If he would have got that gun, he would have killed Carrick and would have killed the other officer. I know it's. Forgive me, but
so let me ask you this, Rod. Can you get him on our podcast?
he moved.
So we have way of
Well, I don't-
mobile podcasting.
Absolutely. No, I don't have any contact. I think I could still find his sister. I think who's still around. If I could, I would love to do that. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what,
I
Hound.
would love to have him on.
I'll tell you what, Hound. How about this? I'll go ahead and look into that. You damn right.
All right.
And if he would, that'd be great. Because you know what? I think maybe he would like a platform where he could speak his mind a little bit
Yeah,
and maybe give us a little bit of insight on what he went through
And it
as a
could help
police
him-
officer.
people
could
need
help
to
him
see
mentally.
what happens through our eyes.
Yeah.
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 it could
He
help
was
him mentally.
responding. He was responding to a 911 call. A lady was on the phone, and in the background, you heard the suspect kicking her door, saying, "F you, bitch, let me in." She has no idea who this guy is. He just crashed his car. He says, "I need help, let me in." So she's thinking she's being home invaded. That's
Oh,
what
I
she
remember
relays
this
to
now.
911.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yes.
Now. Yes.
Dude, it was
Absolutely.
huge.
The
And
media
so,
crucified him.
So when you respond to it, when you respond to home invasion, I'm balls to the wall, sirens, and I'm ready to fuck somebody up because somebody's trying to get to somebody and hurt them. So I'm here to help citizens, right? So I'm going to help. We pull up. The lady says, "He left. He went that way." So they go that way. They drive up, and here he's walking out of the woods. Okay, the description fits. They stop. One guy takes deadly force, which means pistol. One guy takes non-deadly force, which means taser. And they have perfect setup. He comes out of the woods, walks up to between the two cars and looks at them. They give him commands to get on the ground. He ignores the commands. What does he do, Slow? What does he do, Hound Dog? He pulls his pants up. What does that mean to you two as police officers? When a guy pulls his pants up,
getting ready
What?
to rumble.
ready to rumble or ready to run? Am I right?
Oh, you're right.
And what did he do?
Yeah.
He
Fight or
can't-
flight.
Fight or flight, because you can't do shit with your pants around your legs. So he pulls them up. He's getting ready to run or he's getting ready to fight. And he decided to fight. He came straight at Carrick. And then Carrick is backing up, backstepping. He's backing up to create space while the other officer fires a taser, which fails. And then the guy ends up on top of Carrick. On top of him, basically a mounted type of thing, was able to punch him twice in the face to create an inner cut in his mouth along his upper teeth. And then Carrick is like this with the gun still out, trying to keep hold of his pistol. He wasn't able to holster. I'm not a Monday morning quarterback. Don't know what it is, but he was like this, and then he fired. And that's the reason every bullet he fired hit. And then they embellish, Slow. They embellish the fact that he hit him 6, 7, 8 times. Right?
So,
Well, how the fuck do you miss from here when a guy's beating your ass? He's about to take your gun. He's twice your size. I mean, everything was bullshit. And to confirm what I'm saying, that I'm not a biased person, when the trial came up, he was acquitted
Excellent.
because everybody saw the video. The video was the key. They withheld the video for 2 years
After
and
he was
destroyed this guy.
victimized- After he was victimized for 2 years.
Damn right. Drove me insane. And I had to work for that department within that structure for that long. It just, and the chief left town 2 months before is everybody figuring this out?
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is what police sometimes face on this side. I know what you face on that side when you think police are doing bad things.
And
I
us as
understand that.
cops, we're sitting there thinking, I'm in the right. You know I'm in the right. We have video to prove
Damn
it.
right he is.
Prove it. Let's show the media. Prove that I'm right.
Damn
Show
right
that
he
I'm a
is.
good officer.
And when they went to,
the media puts out what they want to put out.
and you guys know this, both of you guys know this, when they go to trial, right? They have his training record. They have people at the academy who are there testifying on how he was trained to deal with something like that, right? So they're all training that he did everything like, well, I wasn't in the trial, so I can't comment on that, but he was acquitted. And they were probably saying he had no choice. If he wasn't able to holster up in time, there's different ways he could have combated that. A guy my size, I would have took the brunt because I could probably fight the guy. Okay, I might have holstered and fought the guy because I'm his size. This guy's not. And when you have a female officer or a smaller officer against a 6'4", 250-pound ex-linebacker from college, who this guy was, jumping on you, you're done. You're done. He's going to take your shit unless you're trained. And he couldn't let that happen. Plus, he was fighting for his life at that point.
Yeah, it don't matter if you are trained, man. The fact of the matter is, you take, like you just said, 6'4", 265-pound guy, and you take like a female officer or a small frame officer. Yeah, you're not. It's not like on TV. You're not going to take these TV shows. These 5'3",
you have no
100-pound
idea.
females throwing these guys. It don't happen. It just don't happen.
You're right. Yeah.
Some of these people, it's just a reality, and this is not everybody.
Why,
but some of these people, when you encounter them,
Rodney,
they are fresh.
That's why you take a we have a female officer. She shoot a shotgun. Every time you shot, it'd knock her down because she's so small frame. But you take her compared to someone of your size, she is more likely to be able to get by and justify shooting a bad guy more than maybe than you can.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yes,
it's just,
I agree.
Yeah, it was my point. My point being for this whole story was that, folks, the police on this side are facing a lot of things in their command staff, in the political realm above, that they're dealing with, and the last thing they're looking for is to hurt or mistreat people on the street.
Yeah.
There are officers who are badge heavy. Yeah. Are there officers that come through by mistake, that they miss during the hiring process? Yes. Good example. You take, if 10% of the population are bad people, then 10% of the candidates that fall through the police department are going to be bad people. It's just a numbers game.
Right.
If there's 100 people hired and 10% are bad, that's 10 people. If one gets through, then you're going to have a story eventually, whether it's 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. They're going to fuck up because they can't, because they're bad people, right? But when you're picking from a population that's not perfect or that's imperfect, you're going to have an imperfect force to a certain degree. But the majority are solid. 750,000 officers through the country, millions of calls, and you hear about a handful, 10, 15, 20 of bad cops, and you think all cops are bad, you're fucking crazy. You're crazy to think that. You need to realize that what you're seeing on TV is being highlighted for a reason, and the reason's not good. The bad cops sell, okay? They sell, and that's why the ratings are high. A good cop doing something good, nobody gives a shit. You're like, that's what they're supposed to do. And that's what most of us do.
You know what, Rod? The good cops appreciate the good cops that does stuff good.
Hell yeah,
I'm serious.
Yep.
That was deep, hound dog.
I'm telling you, man. The bad guys that does bad shit, yeah, fuck them.
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's like our
shit.
last week, our last podcast. Where you have the fake news giving out this stupid topics or stupid headliners just to sell their article. And they're they're bald-faced lying.
Yep. And the article you're referring to, Slow, is the band director that wouldn't stop his kids from playing at the football game when the cops asked him to. And the headline was, if I'm not mistaken, cops tase band director for not stopping kids from performing in band. Almost like they said, hey, motherfucker, national anthem. stop right there. And they tased them. No, they were trying to clear a parking lot after a football game.
Yep.
And they asked them to stop playing so they could get on the mic and they could announce how to clear. Because as we know, after games, especially rivalry games,
Oh, yes.
there could be fights, shootings. If people culminate in a parking lot, things can happen. So as a police officer, when we're working there, paid to work there to keep safety and to clear things out and to make everything's copacetic, we do things a certain way, and we expect people to cooperate who are within the administration. And when this guy says, no, I'm not going to stop the kids from playing, it's like, why not? Like, what is your issue? You've been playing the whole game. You marched at halftime. You played during the whole game. The game's over. It's time to go home. And he just refused for some reason.
And
then he has the audacity.
The officers let him finish that last song.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They were patient. After they said stop playing, he wouldn't. They let him finish the last song. And then they said, okay, now that you got your way, that's fine. But now, for not obeying orders, you got to come with us. And then he decided to push an officer, and he got arrested and tased. Oh, well.
So if you lay hands on an officer, your
He
ass
did.
should
Yep. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Speaking
That's how it fucking works.
On behalf of all officers, you touch us, we will touch you back.
Oh, dude.
And
Oh,
we'll
dude.
touch you back harder.
Hell no. Who was our biggest rival?
us.
Was it Ashbrook and Hunter Huss? Was that our biggest rivals back in
Yes.
Gastonia? Yeah, we used to work off duty at these high schools. That's what this was, Alabama High School. And I dreaded working that off duty because they were such big rivals. And at the end of the game, there's going to be fights in the parking lot.
Yep.
And what happens with fights in a parking lot? When you say fights in a parking lot, it's pretty broad.
Oh, yeah.
But fights in a parking lot could mean this, but usually means this.
Oh, yeah. And it's
nobody
not one
today,
or two people.
nobody's
It's
today
15,
fights.
20,
It means
30
that
people.
a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, it was mostly this, but now it's drive-bys.
You're right.
So
you're right, Rod.
And when you're paid, and listen, and folks, so off-duty officers who work they're not on duty. They volunteered to work the football game.
Yeah, make a little extra money.
And because they want to build a deck on their house, so they want to put the kid through college. I mean, for God's sakes. So that they take instructions from the school administrators and the school on how to run the game and how to clear the game and how the parking lot works and how to direct traffic. There's a lot of things that go into it, which you don't have to be concerned with, but you just got to freaking listen to us. That's all you got to do. And the band director is the last guy who works for the school who should be disobeying the officers who got the directions from the school. That's all.
Right. Yep.
That's all. Like, it's really, it's like, you know what? I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I have common sense, logic, and you know what? I can follow instructions. That's all you have to do. And I mean, you don't have to have a chip on your shoulder. Just stop. We're not telling you to stop because you suck or your band's. It's the game's over. Like we have to take care of business now. We got to clear the lot. No.
Yeah.
Like, really? Like,
there's a reason why we're conducting business.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Damn right.
Absolutely.
All right, my rant. I just ranted again. So
Rod Netter, how do you really feel?
There's dead air. You guys feel this dead air while I take a drink. For God's sakes.
So what do you think, Rod? Just let us know what you think.
I'll tell you
keep
something.
rolling, bro.
Going back, I've taken notes.
Feeling good. I'm getting my second win, bro. Woo! Let's do this.
I'm taking
Let's
notes.
do a third podcast.
Let's do it. First time ever.
I saw you, Hound Dog.
No,
So let's do it. I saw you, Hound Dog.
It's not the first time ever. We've done third podcasts before. We never was able to use them. We're talking like this. We're talking like this right here. And we're dropping names that we shouldn't be dropping.
I'll be hitting media buttons because I got control of this shit. Now listen to this. Did you guys hear that?
Don't hear shit.
I
Did
missed
you hear that? Did you hear that?
I bet you hear mine.
No.
I heard that one.
That's my last media button. That was a laughing
All right,
button.
so
I got to get this.
Going back to talk about this, and I love the when I became the sergeant over K9, I knew nothing about K9s, but I knew more than the captain that was over K9s. So I relied on the K9 instructor and the officers to school me on what they need, how things operated, how the dogs operated, and how to maintain that particular division. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
When
I can
I
elaborate on that
retired,
later.
when I retired, another sergeant took over who was excellent for the job. I recommended him, and they chose him to take over from me. And he came back to me probably a month later and apologized to me because he worked as a subordinate for me on the canines. He said, Sarge, I had no idea the crap you had to deal with administration and be the liaison between administration and the guys that actually do canines who knows what they're doing. And there's probably 2/3 of the crap that the administration want me to do and bring down to the guys I never mentioned because it was BS.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it was just
Your job. Your job to me as sergeant was key. The sergeant is the first, for people listening. Sergeant is the first line above officers. They're the ones that have the closest contact, that talk to them every morning or every afternoon or every evening and roll call. They're the ones the officers call when shit hits the fan or they have a question or they don't know something.
Hey, and let me
The sergeant.
What's that? Can't believe that. Not only that, also with the officers' personal lives. They come to you, with their personal issues.
Fuck yeah.
The administration never seen or heard.
Right. They need a day off, and then the reason that follows, the sergeant hears about it. They're also counselors. They're everything. They're everything. Because guess what? These officers aren't robots. They have lives, and they have situations and issues. They have children. They have marital issues. They have drinking issues. They have
just like anybody else
whatever
out there.
Money issues, just like everybody out there. They're just real people, and I think sometimes folks lose that aspect of the guy in front of them, pull them over. I've pulled people over, and they get out of that car raising holy hell, and I'm like, and I wait for them to finish because I'm kind of an imposing guy. It's not like I'm worried about myself, but I wait for them to finish, and I go, "Ma'am, I was just going to let you know your taillight was out to get it fixed." And she goes, "Oh, that's it." I'm like, "That was it." And then I say, "Have a great day." And she goes,
the same thing.
She backtracks. Said, "Don't say sorry. Just correct your behavior." Like
I always told the guys, do
no
not
issues,
do not take this job personally because you don't know the guy you pull over, the guy that you're interacting with. You don't know what he's going through.
They're sorry.
Yeah, you don't know the life problems or whatever issues they got. Why he's out there drinking, why he's out there being the way he is, you don't know. And if they are scumbags.
The key with what you said, Slow, is personal. You can never take it personal because to elaborate on what you said, personal meaning not just the normal guy, the ticket guy, but the guy that does something really heinous and he might get away with it. You can't take it personal and go after him in an offensive way. You have to wait till he violates again.
Sometimes the bad guy wins.
That way. It's exactly right. And it's not because we let him win. It's because the system or the laws aren't there to correct him or to bring him to justice.
And I always tell the guys, it's nothing personal. They're not against you. It's the badge.
Exactly right.
Against the badge, not the person.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, man, we're getting deep. Alcohol brings out the deepness in this.
Love this shit. How many times you heard I hate cops?
Like Yoda.
The general cops. I hate cops. Every cop? Yes. You hate me? Well, no. Then you don't hate all cops. Like, what are you talking about? Like, how can you make that's like me saying I hate all people or I hate all this or I pick a group of people who I hate.
We do.
Yeah.
If you're not a cop, military.
I hate short people. I hate short people. Jeez.
Everybody's short to you.
All right, I hate tall people. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, people like you, Rodney, always said, think but one thing, keep me whooping your ass. I can't. It's the only thing. If I could, you'd be carrying an ass whooping right now.
I know you would.
And Hound Dog just went dark on us.
Hound Dog's just listening.
I'm still here.
He's loving the podcast. He's loving the podcast.
Hound Dog's about to go out on us.
Into the podcast. I was like,
look at him. Yeah, but I think sometimes I think people lose track of like we're just people too. No different than a guy who works at this office or that office or a doctor, a lawyer, a guy at the grocery store. Yeah. Slow grocery store. I got you in there.
Ingles. Shout out to Ingles.
Ingles. Shout out to Ingles. We're no different. Everybody has lives, and I'm telling you, The majority of us want a peaceful day. We want to let you go. We want to have a good encounter.
With
we
that
want to
being
have
said,
a positive encounter.
bringing up
Yep.
Eagles.
Go ahead.
People say, why, I let all my certifications go dead. And they say, why are you working at Ingles? You know what? I stock toilet paper and cereal. There's no life crisis. Nobody's dying.
He's a COVID freak.
Oh yeah. Nobody's, I'm going home the other night.
Right, Hound Dog? Right, Hound Dog? He's a COVID
Absolutely.
freak.
And
Toilet paper. You're a COVID freak.
If we're out toilet paper, you know what?
He's gonna look at money.
I'm cool.
You're cool. You're cool. Just listen, stay away from them spiders, okay?
Yeah.
I
Stay
will tell
away
you
from them
something funny.
fucking
And,
Yetis.
and I've said this on the podcast before. A guy came in one day, I'm stocking toilet paper. And it's Charmin says ultra strong. They have ultra soft. The guy looks and says, I don't know. How do you choose? I said, brother, it's whatever kind of day you're having.
Whatever you had for dinner.
Oh, you know, I mean, the soft, you might need the strong.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. Jeez Louise.
Oh, well, are we off the rails or what?
Rod, hold on a minute. Rod,
Go ahead.
what did you just drink off camera?
I think you just drink off camera. Hound Dog's about out.
I fucking hate y'all.
I am drinking a lot. Well, I finished my Evan Williams shot.
It took like 6.5 hours to do that, but that's cool. That's cool.
No. I finished that, and then I had another drink I made up. I made up some other kind of concoction with off bourbon. It's not bourbon. It's vodka and cranberry or something like that.
Pump the brakes.
That's it. Yep.
Bourbon and badges, Rod Nader.
The podcast.
He asked me a question. I answered it.
Truth serum. You gotta hate it.
True serum. Yep.
Hey, what is the most drunk person you've ever stopped or encountered?
Slow ride.
Okay. What's the most drunk person you ever? Oh, really? Because I got pictures of you, Hound Dog, of crap. What's your buddy's name down there at the beach? The one you gonna do the podcast with?
Oh, Les.
Yeah. What's his club name?
Smooth.
Yeah, Smooth and I got pictures of Smooth and I pushing you in a luggage carrier to your motel room.
Oh,
at the
dude,
last
I was
National
drunk.
Renegade Pigs Nationals.
I was drunk.
I need it. Can I post that
Hey.
on?
Let me call this out. You ready?
Yeah.
You slow pulled me over.
All right, let's don't talk about that.
Whoa.
You want to talk about that?
No, no, I don't.
Stop,
I do
stop,
not
stop,
want to.
Stop. No.
You want to talk about
Hold on. What?
What?
All right, let's say that for another podcast because we're about the end of this podcast.
Oh, so oh
Whoa.
no, hell no. Rod brought it up. We got to go with it.
Now listen. This might be suspense for the audience to tune in next time, but
Oh yeah,
I just call like I said. There's nothing off limits. Everything's on. I got pulled over by the Gastonia Police Department one time, and my man Slow was out.
this is going so good. Go ahead.
Slow. Did you pull over, Rod?
Slow didn't directly pull over, but he ended up out there somewhere. I forget because I was out of sorts.
You were drunk.
Do you really? Okay. We might not be able to air this podcast. You really want to talk about it?
What do I give a shit about? What?
All right.
What do I give a shit? This is supposed to be
Also-
an honest. This is supposed to be an honest podcast, right?
Jeff
Yeah,
Wooten.
absolutely.
Jeff Wooten and I, we love like a brother, working off duty at the, I can't think of the name of it. It's a black nightclub on South Street and Main Avenue intersect. It's downtown Gastonia. It's a black club. They're cool. They love us.
Dino's?
No, it wasn't Dino. Yeah, it was the old Dino's building, but it wasn't Dino's this time.
Okay.
But they loved us. We loved them, and it was great. But we're sitting there chilling out. Officer Wooten and I were, Detective Wooten and I were. We're in uniform in a marked unit. I think we might be sitting in my patrol car. But anyway, there's this big, giant-ass white guy comes walking down the sidewalk, and he just hangs outside the black nightclub. And Wooten goes, look, he's going in. He goes in. I would go, oh, crap. The night's going so smooth. It's going so easy. This is not going to be good.
Hey, everybody.
A few minutes later, he comes
Rod.
walking back out. Okay, okay, it's cool. And he just kind of hangs out outside for a little bit, crosses the street, walks right by our patrol car. Okay, we thought, okay, red flags go off. One thing, this guy's drunk off his ass, or he's coming around cops. Yeah, could this be a cop? Because he's coming around cops. And he goes on up the road. A little while later, Wooten goes, that's the guy. That's the guy. So he's talking, he's driving. That's the guy. That's the guy. He's driving. So Wooten, that's been Wooten's car because Wooten's behind the wheel. Pull in behind him. We do a vehicle stop. And Rod Netter gets out of the driver's side. He's doing everything. He's complying. He's complying with Officer Wooten. By the time Wooten goes, Covard, get over here now. I'll go over there and go, Rod's a big guy. I looked down and says, fella, you going to give us any problems? I got a flashlight in hand. I got cocked back already ready. It's already cocked back. You going to see problems? He goes, nah, no problems. No, we're good.
And my point with that is that we're all humans. We all do things. And that's one of my nights. I was a little bit off. And guess what? These guys treated me fantastic.
I'm gonna tell you something cool.
Made sure I got home on time and safely.
I'm gonna tell you something cool. He's borderline. Could be or couldn't be. It's iffy. So listen, big guy, you going to smile? He says, you got any ID? He says, yeah, I got some ID. So he pulls out his driver license. Wooten's looking at it, he says, nah, and he says, you got the wrong ID. I got another ID. Then he pulls out the Charlotte Mech ID. Now, this guy's a cop. Okay, he's cool. A sergeant on patrol pulls up, and I tell the sergeant, listen, Charlotte Mech PD officer here. He's a captain, Charlotte Mech. We're going to give him a ride home. She says, cool. She 22. 22 means disregard any more of the units on patrol.
Yep.
And she's a brand new sergeant. She's a captain now, and a great captain. She's a great sergeant.
That's cool shit.
Yeah, another officer pulls up, and she chews his ass out. She said, I thought I told you no more needed on this. And she sends him on his way because she's cool. She's right there with us. Yeah, long story short is, no problems. You're very respectful, and everything. And we get you a ride. We get you a ride home. Girlfriend at the time, I think.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So,
full disclosure, I was Sasquatch on that fucking day. A big hair.
I don't know if we can release this now or not, but we'll talk about it after. But no, was he drunk? To the point, Charlotte Mech, if you listen to him, you don't go back and say, you're drunk. No, he wasn't drunk. He is borderline. We played it safe and got him a ride home. Yeah, it's better play it safe than sorry.
Hell yeah. And I appreciate it all. Hell yeah.
But what was funny was, he goes, Carver, get over here now. And everyone goes, Johnny Green Giant, good God. I'm like, fella, you going to give us a hard time? He goes, no. Okay.
Hell no. I'm
like, somebody's about to get ass whipped here, and it might be us.
Never happened.
So do you remember what happened inside the Black Club? You go right in there. You're the only white guy in a 250 person black club.
So funny thing is, I walk in right there at security. I walked straight through those motherfuckers. Didn't pay my cover charge. Went straight to the bar. Ordered a drink. Got a drink. Sat down. Then security came in and they said, "Sir, you went right through security. They weren't able to check you for weapons and you didn't pay the coverage." I was like, oh, my bad. So I stood up. They patted me down and I handed them some money and they left. And then I finished my drink.
It's probably $600.
Whatever it was. It was, yeah. We all, it's a good time, man. We had a good time. That was fun. And I appreciated your treatment. The Gastonia Pete. Again, there you go. It's just.
Well, and here it is.
Good people, man.
Here it is. Doctors give other doctors professional courtesy, don't charge them. Lawyers represent other lawyers, personal courtesy, don't charge them. And there's no problem with the officers doing the same thing. Now, had you been drunk off your ass, we had no other choice but to do what we had to do. But you weren't.
That's it.
You were not. You were borderline. You could go this way, that way. And
that's the way.
And I'm telling you here, it is professional courtesy, but we would have gave Joe Blow the same opportunity.
I don't know how many times I pulled over a flat out drunk driver. I said, you have a choice. Park your car. I'll put your keys in the property and we'll send you home in a cab, or go to jail. And they always pick the cab.
Yeah.
And that saves them $5,000-$10,000 in lawyers' fees and all this other stuff going on. And they're appreciative of it. And I protect the community from a drunk driver. Oh. There's nothing wrong with that, folks. And just to re-elaborate, that helps everybody out there. You know, that lets you know that we're not all just locking people up and taking you to jail and costing you money and your license.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You know, yeah. So
You treat us decent, we treat you decent, and we're aware every time. I do want to tell
first thing you say. Go ahead. The first thing you say out of your mouth is key when a police officer approaches your car. If it's aggressive and fucked up, it's probably going to go off the rails.
Oh yeah.
If it's
going south.
polite and like, what can I do? I'm sorry. What did I do? It's going to go good. Just remember that. Just be a little bit. Honey goes a lot farther than vinegar. What the hell's that saying? I don't freaking know. But you know what I'm saying. Just being a little bit nicer rather than gruff. You know.
Be respectful.
Yeah, be respectful.
All right, guys, we are way over time. I do want to tell us one other quick story. We used to work at Snappers down off of East Franklin Boulevard, and there's one guy. No, well, one time it was, but no, then it turned into just a regular club.
All right. I heard
it used to be what was Teddy Bears. It used to be Teddy Bears was a strip club.
Was that a strip club? Okay.
It was, but then it turned into Snappers. But this one guy used to always drive his car to Snappers, and he'd always at the end of the night, we worked off duty there. He always would call a rollback and have his car. He'd ride back with his car and have his car towed home. He says, "Hey, rollback's cheaper than a DWI."
There you go. Look at that.
All right, guys. Any shout outs? Anything else you want to say or think?
I enjoyed the hell out of this podcast. Our second one of the night. A little bit loose. Felt a little bit better. I had a great time. What are you laughing at, Slow?
Because it may or may not be released after we talk tomorrow.
Yeah, who knows?
It will be released.
I can't find my notes.
This has been a good podcast.
Hell yeah. A good podcast.
All right, special thanks to, I did the music.
Boone's Bourbon.
Boone's Bourbon. Drink Boone's Bourbon, man. You got to drink Boone's Bourbon. We love Boone's Bourbon. Black Rebel Training Group, Law Enforcement Day at lawenforcementday.com. And what is this? My buddy Drew's going to kill me. Build a bed.
A lot of dead air, dude. I mean, what
yeah,
are we
build
doing?
a bed. Editing, baby.
Build
editing.
a bear.
Build a bed. I'm saying it right. That's not my notes right now because I
Build a bear is some shit my daughter used to do in the mall.
Yeah, I see that. That's pretty cool, man. All right, guys. Any last shout outs?
To build a bear, I guess. I don't fucking know.
Another Renegade Pig shout out goes to the North Carolina Moonshine Crew.
Yeah, hey, we have never done our own shout out. That's pretty good. The Moonshine Crew,
yeah.
North Carolina. God bless us.
Hell yeah.
Also, let's drink about it and drink responsibly.
Hey, I got a shout out to Slow and Hound Dog.
And the Rodinator.
Awesome. Hell yeah, dude. Had a good time.
Personalities, Bourbon and Badges, the podcast, coming to you, Studio 77. This has been a Studio 77 production.
Peace out. Have a good night.
Maybe it'll make it. Maybe it won't.
You mean it's over? Well, shit.